Hey everyone, what's happening? Lex back today for another Brawl Stars video, and today I'm going to tell you all about the legendary Brawler Spike. How to use him, how to counter him, where you should be playing him, all about his shot mechanics, and much more, so stick around for this legendary guide. First off, let's take a quick overview on Spike. Now, he is one of the 3 legendary brawlers in the game, and if you've been lucky enough to get him, well, then you've certainly beaten the odds because the chance for that baseline is 0.11%. That's not a high number.
So pretty much I just have to gym to get some Spike action.
Basically. Now, his main shot is called Needle Grenade, and what it does is it shoots out a medium distance, and when it reaches its target or it reaches max distance, it explodes and shoots out 6 spikes in different directions. We're going to get into the very specifics of that attack, its shot patterns, how to control it more a little bit later in this guide, so you definitely want to stick around for that. Now, his super is called Stick Around. What he does is he launches out a big cactus ball. When it hits the ground, it creates a massive circle, and within that circle, cactuses grow up. Any enemy that's caught in this circle, they are slowed as well as they take damage over time. It is one of the best supers in the game right now, and it really excels with crowd control. Now, his star power is called Fertilize. It really combines with his super, and what happens is if Spike is standing within the area of effect of his super, he will start to get healed for 500 health per tick. It is exceedingly strong and probably one of the strongest in the game right now. On a side note, the healing from his star power does not scale with showdown power-ups, so it doesn't matter if you have 0 showdown power-ups or 10, you're still getting healed for 500. Now let's go over some of Spike's strengths and his weaknesses. Because of the way his shot mechanics work, he has incredible burst capability. He can pump out a ton of damage, especially up close and, well, mid-range to up close. At distance, he can still do a decent amount of damage, but at that range, he's more of a poker than he is really a heavy damage dealer. He has great crowd control, not only from the area effect of his main shot, but mainly his super can really stop people from coming into areas as well as trap people in areas. It's a really great super, and I'll show you guys more later on how to use that in the most effective means. Another strength for Spike is that he has incredible defensive capabilities. In fact, in most game modes, aside from gem grab, you're really going to be playing more of a defensive role with Spike, and with that, he can shred tanks really fast. He can slow enemies down from like trying to score in Brawl Ball. He has incredible defensive capabilities, and you're really going to want to utilize those. Spike is one of the most versatile brawlers in the game. He can play in almost every game mode. Maybe not the best in all of them, but he can play in all of them. Bounty would probably be his worst game mode. However, we'll get into all the specific game modes later on in this guide. And finally, and perhaps the most important one, is that he has a skin that's pink.
Yo, did you buy a pink cactus just for this video, Lex?
No?
Yeah, right. Man, you a nerd, Lex.
But he's not the perfect brawler. He does have plenty of weaknesses as well. Namely, his range, which is only a medium range, his health, which is very low, near the very bottom, like with Dynamite and Crow, it's way down there with them, as well as his speed. He is the slowest brawler in the game. Well, I mean, he's tied with like a bunch of other brawlers for the slowest, but nevertheless, he's the slowest brawler in the game. Now, one of the most interesting and probably useful aspects of Spike is his shot mechanic. What happens is he shoots out a shot, and once it reaches its maximum distance or it hits its target or a object like a wall, not that I would ever shoot a wall, it will explode and shoot out 6 projectiles. Now, this shot pattern, despite Spike's relatively slow reload speed, is the reason why he has such huge burst potential. Let's take a closer look at this pattern so that you can understand how it works and how to utilize it to your advantage. Now, as I was saying, Spike's shot goes out, and when it reaches its maximum distance or it hits its target, it shoots out in 6 projectiles. As you can see here in this, This is the pattern that it always is. It doesn't matter which direction you're facing, up, down, left, right, upside down, in another galaxy, it doesn't matter. This is his shot pattern every single time. It used to be different. It was a little bit RNG, but now this is it. Knowing this, we can utilize that to our advantage. Now, if we take a look, as you can see, the point of impact right there is on the bottom left-hand side, and then the spikes travel out. If you're looking at that, there's only one spike that's going to hit, and it does, as you can see that other arrow, so 2 bits of damage will hit on that box that time. Let's see it again, but now with 2 spikes hitting. If we go over there just a little bit more, it's a better shot. And as you can see now, 2 spikes are going to travel upwards to the left and to the right and both hit. And you can see even they turn black there. There are 3 spots connecting the damage dealt initially as well as the 2 other points. You can get it on the safe and highest if you time it just right. Well, if you stand in just the right spot, you will get 4 shots on once. That's pretty impressive. And if you get 2 boxes stacked up together, like say in Showdown, you can deal a ton of damage if you stand right on the middle of them. It just really racks out the damage. So if you're gonna be opening up those boxes in Showdown, just walk right up to them and stand on top of them. You're gonna deal more consistent damage than if you try to from far away. Now, if you get really good at aiming those shots and knowing the pattern, you can more accurately predict if your shots are going to hit 1, 2, or 3, or possibly even more at one time. Now, I will say that the size of the hitbox of your target you're shooting at does make a difference on how many spikes will land. The bigger the hitbox, the better chance you have of multiple projectiles hitting that target. Now that you know that shot pattern, you can use that to your advantage. What you can do is if somebody's hiding behind a wall or at an angle that you know is going to hit because you know the pattern now, you can use that spike shot to reach targets behind a wall or way even off to the corner in the bottom left like you're seeing right now. It can come in extremely handy, and when an opponent thinks that they're out of reach, you can still reach out and touch them. Now, as you can see in this clip, it is clearly better to manual aim than it is to auto aim. At a distance, you're never going to hit your target with auto aim unless the person is just standing still. The only time it's acceptable is if you're within about 2 tiles or so. If you're really close to somebody, then auto aim is fine. Otherwise, manually aim spike. He's got a wide range. It's easy to hit your shots. Just manually aim. Just don't do the auto aim. Now let's go over how you want to play Spike. Spike is a support brawler. That means he's not like, say, in Gym Grab. He's not the gym carrier. He's not going to be the aggro brawler. He is going to be a support. He is there to make sure that the rest of the team is able to do their job without being impeded too much from the other team. Now, you can use your super in both an offensive and a defensive manner. Heck, I mean, you can even use your super to heal yourself in a pinch if that's really what you need to do. It's probably not used best for that, but if you have your star power, you can absolutely make use of that. If like it's a crucial moment and you don't have time to stop shooting to heal up, you can use your super to help heal yourself back up. But bar none, the best use of your super is absolutely... No. That's not it. Who took that clip? That is not a good use of a super.
Speak for yourself, man. I hate them bones.
I mean, touche. But truly the best way to use your super is either to trap an opponent from escaping from an area or use that super to block off and make a area inaccessible from an enemy. Now, if you have your super and you're up close and a confrontation is inevitable, you can also throw it down at your feet on the other brawler as well. You will be healing yourself. You're already toe-to-toe, so you're going to be in a scuffle anyways. So you're going to be dealing damage and you're going to be healing yourself. And many times, just that extra health is the difference between winning and losing a one-on-one fight. One thing you want to be careful with Spike is being too aggressive. You have to remember, Spike is a glass cannon. He does a lot of damage, but he has very little health. So don't be too aggressive and put yourself in a situation where you're just gonna get taken out. One thing you might want to consider doing is hiding in a bush and jumping out at a medium distance and throwing those shots off towards somebody and then backing off and getting back into cover. You want to keep tanks at a comfortable range. You don't want them on top of you, for obvious reasons, but you don't want them too far away because your damage is more inconsistent at a further range. So keep them at just at an arm's length, or in Primo's case, a fist's length away from you while you're still dealing your damage. Now, against a long-range brawler, you're probably going to want to play it smart. You're going to want to slowly try to work yourself into a position of cover and then use that cover to peek out and throw those shots out and do your damage and keep them back because again, Spike doesn't have a very long range, and other brawlers, the ones that do have a long range, you're going to want to either going to have to just flat out outplay them by getting them to miss shots and you land yours, or you're going to have to play it smart. I would recommend you do the latter of the two. Now, because of Spike's shot pattern, enemies that clump up are in big trouble because he can really throw out tons of damage if you get multiple enemies in the same spot. And if you see that, take advantage of it as soon as possible. It'll put a ton of pressure on them. It'll build up your super, and it'll give your team the chance to take control of the field. And in Brawl Stars, field control and holding your position is a huge thing, so be sure to take advantage of that. Now, some specific game mode advice. In Gym Grab, you're going to be playing a lane. You're not going to be playing in the middle. You're not going to be the aggro. You're going to be in a lane. Like, say, on Crystal Cavern, you'd probably want to play on the right, and with that, you're going to want to focus on the person that's in front of you, that's coming down your lane. Now, if there is no one in your lane, feel free to crossfire into the center at the opponent's gym carrier. It puts a lot of pressure on them. It's 2 versus 1 because your gym carrier is going to be on them as well. 2 versus 1 is not a fight that almost anybody can win, so that'll really help out. Now, in Heist, you're much more of a defensive player / field control. Of course, if you see an opportunity to get to the safe, well, then you're going to go ahead and do that as well. And again, if you're free and clear on the safe, be sure to stand right on its toes where you're just barely in front of the safe, and you will deal max damage to that safe. But for the most part, you're going to be playing a defensive role and a control role. You're really just providing opportunity for your tank and probably your thrower to be able to get to the safe and deal max damage. In Brawl Ball, you're playing a very similar role than what you were in Heist. It's more of a field control, defensive stopper, but also you can be kind of a playmaker as well because you can use that super to slow down an enemy to create gaps and lanes and opportunities for your ball carrier to really get in there and score. So save your super for spots that are really critical, that you see that, like, okay, if I slow this brawler down, they're not going to be able to get to this spot in time, and that's going to leave my ball carrier an opening to score. Look for those spots and take advantage of them. Now let's talk about some ways to counter Spike. If you don't have Spike yourself, you've probably played against him and thought, holy crap, that brawler is insanely strong, and he is. I'm not disputing that, but there are some very good ways to counter him. Like most things, when you're looking for a counter, you want to take a look at them, analyze their weaknesses, and then exploit that. So if we take a look at Spike's weaknesses, again, health, range, and speed. As far as range goes, that's pretty simple. If you're playing a brawler that just simply outranges Spike like a Piper, a Brock, a Rico, or a Colt, just stay at your max range, and Spike will not be able to get you, but just outrange him. Flat out outrange him, make it to where he can't touch you. Try not to let him get position on you, and then abuse that range so that he never has a chance to get in there and land those shots on you. As far as his health goes, if you're a tank and you can get close to Spike, you will obliterate him really quickly. But that's where the rub comes in, because it's not always super easy to get to Spike. Spike is actually a pretty good tank stopper. Now, you can get there, but you're going to have to play smart. Slowly work yourself into position, and once you get there, try to heal up, again, trying to avoid those shots, and then when you see your opportunity, you can get close to Spike and you can absolutely take him out real quick. Or alternatively, you can hide in a bush and you can jump him that way as well. It only takes a couple shots from a bull to take him down. As far as speed goes, just like we were talking about before in Brawl Ball, let's say you're a Mortis and you got the ball. Look for those openings that you can get around Spike. Once you get past him, he's not going to catch you. So you can use that speed to your advantage, or his lack of speed to your advantage, and your speed, and you can really get away from Spike in a hurry. So look for those opportunities to be able to get around him. Now let's talk about the game modes that you should be looking to push Spike in. First off, Gym Grab. The answer is yes. What maps? The answer is yes. It's always yes in Gym Grab. Spike is amazing in Gym Grab. It's probably his best game mode. Showdown. The answer again is yes. Is he the very best? That's kind of map specific, so your mileage may vary, but solo showdown, yes, Spike is very good. Duo showdown, I think he's even better because he works really well as a damage dealer and a control, so he really fills both roles, and so he's very versatile and can work with a lot of different team comps. So look to play Spike in showdown and duo showdown because he works great in either one. In Brawl Ball, again, the answer is yes. Look for those maps that are kind of mid-range maps like Pinhole Punt or Triple Dribble. Backyard Bowl works okay. Super Stadium, Puddle Splash. Sneaky Fields is kind of hit or miss because there's so many tanks there and they can get up on you so close. But look to play him in Brawl Ball because he is great as a defensive player and a field control. So what about Heist? That's maybe. It really depends on the map. Kaboom Canyon's okay. Bone Tunnel is probably my favorite map to play Spike on, because he can really control the middle there where that grass is. Tanks likes to sneak through there. For the most part, Spike is just kind of a middling option. There's almost always a better option than Spike on Heist, but there are some maps where he can definitely work and does work well. The last normal game mode, of course, is Bounty, and that would be a big fat... Nope. No, Spike really doesn't work very well, and the reason is because Bounty is flooded with very long-range brawlers. Remember we talked about how the best way to counter Spike is with range? So you're taking Spike into a mode where your counters exist. I'm not saying he can't work, because he can, but there is always a better option than Spike on Bounty. He's just not the best. So I would stay away from Bounty and take a look at some of those other game modes that we talked about. So what about the special events? It's a pretty simple rule here. If it has a robot in it, the answer's no. So Big Game, he actually works pretty well as both the boss and the attacker. Not the best options, like for the boss itself, probably Jesse or Nita are probably better, but he can work pretty well. So that's gonna wrap it up for my guide on Spike. That's a bunch of information to process, but I hope that this helps you. If you were lucky enough to get Spike, congratulations. He is such a great brawler, one of the best in the game right now. I hope you enjoyed this guide. Get out there and put it to use it to your advantage, and you will be climbing up the trophies on Spike in no time, because he is a great, great brawler. But that's gonna wrap it up for today's video, and as always, until next time, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out.